In the GLVC poll just released, the coaches have picked McKendree to finish third once again. Mike Babcock is set to begin his 5th season on the sidelines here at McKendree. Today is joined by senior wide receiver Dustin Walls and defensive end Darian Simmons. Guys, welcome to the kickoff event. We know you're excited to get the season underway, especially since we're here for the event. Coach, talk about the Bearcats and what your expectations are for 2017.
Well, since I've been here, we've been able to try to create a culture that is, winning, doing something more than just what you're saying, but actually going out and doing it. And I think that, in order to be the best, you got to beat the best, so we've got to be able to show up every Saturday and more or less win games. And I think if we're going to talk about rings, or we're going to talk about playoffs, or we're going to talk about being a top 25 team, we got to be able to do that week in and week out. And I think these guys, especially now that they've been here now for 4 or 5 years, they understand that it takes a lot more than just talking about it in order to do it. So we've got a lot of guys coming back on both sides of the ball. I think we're excited to get this season underway. We have a very tough non-conference schedule, and then let alone all the tough teams that are in the GLVC. So it's going to be a fun year, an exciting year. So can't wait to get it going.
Thank you, Coach. Let's talk about your offense. 9 starters returned, including Shane Edwards in the backfield, who last year became the first Bearcat to top 500 yards since 2013. You also had 4 players starting at quarterback last year. 3 of them returned this year. Give us a little insight on the battle at quarterback, and what you have to do to figure out who's going to be the top guy this year.
I think we'll have to Rochambeau to see who's going to be the top guy. No, I mean, I think any team, I don't know if any team has been able to go through 4 different quarterbacks in a given year. I guess the nice thing is that all of them have game experience, but there's a couple guys coming back that have had a really good spring. Reese Metcalf, Brendan Fred, even Elsie Burke has gotten game snaps, and I think if any of them ended up taking over the role as starting quarterback, I think they do a fine job with it. You do need a trigger man. You said it before, we have 9 returners, coming back on the offense. So we've got a lot of guys coming back. If I can find that trigger man and he can do what is needed to be done, I think we've got a good shot at being pretty decent.
Dustin, you shined as a sophomore in 2015. You were limited last year with injury. You still sit among the top 10 receivers in school history in receptions and reception yards. Talk about opening 2017 healthy, and what are some of the goals that you've set for your team and yourself?
Yeah, so unfortunately last season it was a blessing in disguise, but I got to take time to reflect and better my game with me getting injured and being out for the season. And then the spring, Coach Babs allowed me to take time away, and I got my degree and just able to reflect and improve as not only as a football player but as a leader, and step up into that role of what I need to do in this upcoming 2017 season. As far as individual goals this year, I have a different type of mindset. I'm just playing for the team. This past 2 seasons we've had a goal, and that's to, win a ring, win a conference title, and make it to the playoffs. And, the culture, like Coach Babs was saying, we're tired of talking about it. Now it's time to put that into action. So, we're all excited to get out there and put that into action.
Coach, defensively, you were one of the best units in the country. In fact, you led all of Division II in sacks, but gone from the unit or 2 of the league's best in Lucky Bar, A.J. Wentland. Talk about filling those voids, and who will have to step up as being some of your leaders this year?
I think it's very hard when you lose outstanding, not just athletes, but good leaders and good people, and people like Lucky Bar and A.J. Wentland. They are great players, and they did a lot for our team and our defense and our university as a whole. But we also have 8 senior starters, coming back, this next year. And guys like Darian Simmons on the defensive line. I mean, these guys take pride in being one of the top defensive linemen in the country. And if you're going to come in as a freshman or, whoever, you have to live up to a standard, that they create. And so, I lose really 2 tough guys, but I also gain a lot of guys that have been in the fire, guys that want to win. The will to win is great, and so hopefully with guys like Darian and some of the others at the helm, hopefully we'll have a good shot.
Darian, you shined last year with a career high in 40 tackles, 15.5 tackles for a loss, 11.5 quarterback sacks, The coaches recognized you with an all GLVC honorable mention accolade for your efforts. Talk about the importance of this season, piggybacking off of the success from last year.
I mean, yeah, this season, I've kind of always been in the shadow of Lucky Bar and Brett Pierman, so but I've learned so much from him, and as you can see, it helped me out so much this year, last season, and I just expect to even progress for more on that. But from a team aspect, like Coach said, our defensive line, our whole team, our defense, we have a set goals, and we're going to set those standards. We're not going to let no one come in and try to bring us down, or no one try to tell us we can't get those standards. We got our goals, and we expect to get those every year.
Coach, senior Derek Curry showed some flashes in the return game for you. You have to replace your kicker, Stephen O'Block. Give us some thoughts on your special teams.
I think it's a little bit mixed. I'm glad that we're bringing back a senior and Derek Curry as a return specialist. I also think that Matt Cole, who's one of our fastest guys on the team, will do a great job as well. I could see either one of them, or maybe it's a new freshman coming in as well that's that dynamic. I think we have some dynamic people back there, so I'm excited to see what happens this year. Punting-wise, Monty Wilkie is coming back for yet another stellar season. He still has a couple years left, so really fortunate with that. It is always tough to replace a specialist that has been, out there on the field for you for 4 straight years, and that's in Stephen O'Block and in our long snapper, Brandon Zier. So we have some guys that I think then can pick up the slack. That's obviously an area where I feel good about some, and then I feel a big question mark about the other. But I know, talking to the guys that are coming in that are going to be around for fall, they're excited. They're excited to live up to that, kind of like Darian said, that expectation of, we have high standards here, and they've got to be able to reach the bar, or they're not going to be playing long here.
Coach, let's take a look at your schedule for the second time in 3 years. You finished on a 5-game win streak. 3 are your first 4 games this year on the road, including the GLVC opener at William Jewell on September 23rd. Talk about the importance of building momentum from the end of last season carried over to the beginning of 2017.
Well, I think, since I've been here, you look at the last 3 years, I think one thing that we've done a phenomenal job of is actually winning at the end of the season. That's something that we preach to our guys, especially if we have aspirations of playing in the playoffs. You want to be able to play your best ball at the end. One of the things that hurt us last year to be able to have a chance at the playoffs was actually our winning percentage on the road. So we have not only a tough non-conference schedule, but a lot of those games are actually on the road. So our hope is that not only can we win some of those non-conference games, win the games that we're supposed to, in the GLVC, and let's see if we can't make a run at, some postseason games.
Coach Dustin and Darian, thank you so much for joining us on GLVCSN, and best of luck to the Bearcats this season. Only 2 teams to go. Will it be Truman State or Southwest Baptist? Both shared the title last year. Who was picked to win this year? We'll find out after this short break here on the 2017 GLVC Kickoff, powered by Sling Studios on the GLVC Sports Network, where champions are crowned.